Adobe have become one of the biggest and most successful software companies in the world, providing media tools that many of your favorite creators rely on to create the videos and content you enjoy. But how did they get to where they are today? From starting the font wars, falling out with Apple, and creating one of the most successful software-as-a-service platforms ever, the history of Adobe has it all. Adobe was founded in 1982 by John Warnock and Charles Geschke. The company was established to develop and sell the PostScript page description language, which allowed scalable high-resolution printing through mathematical instruction and vector graphs, opposed to raster graphic formats that stored images as pixels. Shortly after its founding, Apple saw Adobe's potential and purchased 15% of the company for approximately $2.5 million. This marked the beginning of Adobe's and Apple's relationship. A number of years later, in the late 1980s, the font wars began. The font wars began because of Apple's frustrations with being dependent on Adobe for fonts and paying licensing fees for it. Another major reason for Apple's frustrations was because Apple helped make Adobe successful by integrating PostScript into its ecosystem. So that's why they really didn't like becoming dependent on Adobe. This started the deterioration of the relationship between Apple and Adobe. Microsoft saw this feud and approached Apple about creating an alternative font system to compete with Adobe and rid their dependence. Apple approved of their proposal, and together they created and introduced TrueType, a more flexible piece of font technology that was integrated into Windows and Mac. Adobe initially refused to support TrueType, attempting to hold on to its dominance, and for a while the industry was split. Designers and printers leaned towards Adobe, while consumer systems and Windows users leaned towards TrueType. This created compatibility headaches as documents wouldn't display or print correctly across systems. Eventually, the standoff became unsustainable, and in the mid-1990s, Microsoft and Adobe collaborated to create OpenType, leaving Apple behind. In December of 2005, Adobe acquired its competitor, Macromedia. This acquisition allowed Adobe to enhance its Creative Suite offerings to professionals and really cemented them in the creative industry. 2 years later, Adobe launched Creative Suite 3, marking it as the company's largest software release. This was a major upgrade and integrated products from Macromedia, such as Flash and Dreamweaver, into Adobe's suite of applications. It provided enhanced tools for creative professionals, combining powerful design and multimedia capabilities all in one collection. At this point in time, Adobe were worth $20 billion as a company, meaning that even if Apple held onto their share of Adobe for another decade, their share would have been worth approximately $3 billion opposed to $150 million. This was a staggering 1,900% increase in value for Adobe in just a decade. By 2012, YouTube had become mainstream, and Instagram was coming into its element. With the growth of these social media platforms, a demand for software to create high-quality content for them grew greater and greater. Adobe saw this and released their most successful concept to date, Creative Cloud. Creative Cloud provided users with access to the latest versions of Adobe's creative products and services. This included software such as Premiere Pro, Illustrator, and After Effects that are mainstays today, as well as software such as Edge Animate and Adobe Muse that are no longer available. About 6 months after the launch of Creative Cloud, Adobe moved exclusively to a subscription model, discontinuing the traditional perpetual license model. This shift received some criticism and backlash from customers who preferred one-time purchases. However, this shift proved to be one of Adobe's best business decisions. From 2015 to 2020, Adobe completely dominated the market with flagship apps like Photoshop and Premiere Pro, being used by almost all professionals in the media world. But then came COVID-19, and the world descended into chaos. Lockdowns were implemented, society was struggling, but among all of this turmoil, one thing benefited and became even more successful: social media. Now, you would think that the rapid further success of social media would only benefit Adobe, but that's where you'd be wrong. Due to social media's rapid uprising, more competitors to Adobe started appearing, with each of them aiming to end Adobe's ever-present reign over the content creation space by offering free services, something Adobe have never done, and newfound options for creating content. While Adobe still holds strong as the most successful company in the social media space by providing constant updates and integrating AI tools into their softwares, there is no telling that they will hold on to their reign over social media, as their competitors' services are simply becoming more and more appealing. Today, Adobe is worth $100 billion, making it one of the biggest software companies in the world. However, in 2021, Adobe was worth triple what it is now, at $300 billion, and just 2 years ago was sitting at $280 billion after a slight drop in between, meaning Adobe is definitely in a free fall, and they are likely going to have to change something if they wish to hold on to their dominance. Thank you for watching The History of Adobe.